Good day, students. You're welcome to basic science class. I want us to be attentive and I want you to pick up your writing materials and write the, the points that you note in this class. All right, today we're going to be looking at simple machines. But before then, I want to believe that we are acquainted and we know one or two things about machines. Machines generally are devices. They can be home appliances, anything that makes work easier and that allows us to overcome a work or to overcome a load by putting just a little effort or putting a little force. That thing is referred to as a machine. So, in a simpler term, a machine can be described as any device that makes work easier and more convenient for us to do. That is a machine. And examples starts from the knife we use in cutting our vegetables at home, the broom that we use in sweeping the floor, the tin cutters, the hoe, the cutlass, the bottle opener, the packer, even screwdriver and hammers that we use at home. All these, as simple as they look, as small as they are, they are all machines. Now, we want to talk about simple machines. We've seen machines, then what do we mean by a simple machine? A simple machine is a device which uses a force applied at one point. That force that is applied at one point is called an effort to overcome another force, which is called the load, at some other point. In other words, a simple machine is a device that uses a force applied at one point called effort to overcome another force called load at some other point. A simple machine helps us to move a large load by putting a small effort. You have a heavy load. Take, for instance, you have an heavy load and you want to move it from one place to another, from one location to another. With the help of a simple machine, you are able to move that heavy load by the input of a small effort, by the input of small amount of force, and then you are able to move it from that location to another location. That is what a simple machine does. All right. Now, it will interest us to know that there are different types of machine or different types of simple machines. There are about 6 types of them that we have. The first one is the lever. The second one is the wheel and hazel. The third type of simple machine is the pulley. The fourth one is the wedge. The fifth one is the inclined plane screw. And the sixth one is the screw. Again, we have the lever, the wheel and hazel, the pulley, the wedge, the inclined plane, and the screw. All right? A lever is a simple machine that is built on the principle of a stiff bar, resting on a pivot or fulcrum with a load placed at one end and the effort applied on the other end. When we're talking about levers, these levers, they are not even machines that are far-fetched. They are readily used in the homes. Example of a lever could be the broom or the hoe or the cutlass or even your spoon or your hammer, your plier, and your scissors. Right in a lever, we have a load at one hand and we have an effort, which is the applied force. The load is actually the challenge or the work to be done. The load to be overcome is at one end, and the effort or the force applied in overcoming that load is also at an other hand. All right. Now, the lever is of 3 types, or we say there are 3 classes of levers. The lever is of 3 types. It is of 3 classes depending on the positions of the effort, the load, and the fulcrum. That is, the positions of the effort, the load, and fulcrum can be changed, and this will tell us if we have the class of lever that we have. When the position of the effort, load, and fulcrum is changed, where this three components, or each of these three components, where they fall will tell us the class of lever that we have. There are three types of levers. The first one is the first class lever. We also have the second class lever, and we also have the third class lever. The first class lever, we have the fulcrum between the effort and the load. They are simple machines in which their fulcrum or their pivot is between the effort and the load. The fulcrum is between the effort and the load. You have the effort at one end, you have the fulcrum in the middle, and you have the load at the other end. An example is the scissors. You can see that when you hold the scissors, you have to insert your thumb and your fingers inside the scissors. You apply, force and effort in moving the scissors. Now, the fulcrum is in the middle. That's the turning point of the scissors. And then the load, which is the load that the scissors is going to cut, or the load that the scissors will act on, is at the other end. So now you have the turning point in the middle. You have the effort, which is your hand that you insert into the handle of the scissors, and you also have the load at the other hand. That's the first class lever. The same thing goes for your plier. If you have your plier, you are holding your plier at one hand, then there is the fulcrum, the turning point, the movable part of the machine, and then you have the other hand, the last end, where you can put your wire and cut it, or you put whatever you want to work on. That is for first class levers. For second class lever, the load is between the fulcrum and the effort. The load is always between the fulcrum and the effort, and this can be seen in wheelbarrows. For your wheelbarrows, you have the two handles that you are holding, and that is where you apply the force. That's why you apply your energy, and that is where the effort is. Immediately after the effort, you have the barrow itself, that you can put your load, you can put your bag and baggages, you can put your sand and whatever you want to use the wheelbarrow to carry or to transport from one place to another. So before you now have the fulcrum at the where you have the tire. So that means by that arrangement, you have the load, you have the effort, then you have the load, then you have the fulcrum. So in second class lever, you always have the load between the fulcrum and the effort. So you have the effort first, you have the load next, and then you have the fulcrum at the last end. In third class lever, the effort is between the load and the fulcrum. The effort, that is the force that you are using, that you are applying in moving the object or in performing that task, is always between the load and the fulcrum. Example is the sugar tongue and the human forearm. The sugar tongue and the human forearm. You see a tongue that you actually have to press, one end against another hand, and in doing that, you are doing it in the middle, which is where you are putting the effort. That's your effort. Your hand with which you are pressing the tongue is in the middle. So you have the fulcrum before, you have the fulcrum or the pivot or the turning point before the effort, and you now have the load. That is whatever you want to use the tongue to take. Maybe you want to use it to pick a crystal of salt, or you want to use it to pick something in the lab. So that is the load. So you always have the effort in between. The effort is always applied between or in the middle of the load and the fulcrum. That is for third class lever. So we have been able to mention the three classes of levers that we have. We have the first class lever, and I have told you that you have the scissors and plier as an example of first class lever. For the second class lever, you have the wheelbarrows and the nutcrackers. For the third class liver, you have the sugar tongue and the human forearm. Today, we have learned that is a machine. A machine is a device that makes work easier and more convenient for us to do. We have also learned that a simple machine enables a large load to be overcome by a small effort. Also, we have learned that load, effort, and fulcrum are the important components in levers. We have also learned that simple machines or levers are grouped into three classes. We have the first class lever, the second class lever, and the third class lever. And lastly is the class activity that I want us to look at. I want you to describe the three classes of lever. That's the first question. I want you to mention 5 simple machines. That's the second question. Thank you. God bless you.